You should at least have your picture on the transcript. The transcript should be printed in colored. That makes it more authentic. When everything is done, make sure the transcript is signed and stamped by the university in the university stamp and whatever registrar or academic registrar that is in charge with this transcripting. And also make sure you scan it very well. You scan and you crop.
In this video, I am going to talk about the list of the required documents that you would need to apply to any institution here in Finland, how you can get them, and then where to get them. But before I continue the video, please subscribe to this channel, and then also don't forget to click on the notification bar so that you may be able to receive my next videos that I'm going to post. Okay, because after this video I'm really going to talk about how to get your CV into the Europass format, which is also very important because they require you to get your CV in Europass format. So kindly subscribe to this channel so that you can be able to get notification when you have that one in.
In this very video, we are going to talk about the list of the application document. If you have not watched or if you don't know how you got here, kindly click on the link up there to watch the previous video, if nothing at all, the latter part, to see how we got here. So we are going to talk about the list of application documents, and then we are using this program as an example. As I said, it looks similar to other programs. So we go to the application process, and then we go to additional information. That is where we will get the list of the required application documents. Good. So the first thing is an application form online. Okay, I can't do this particular one because right now the application is closed, so it's not possible for me to access this particular kind of link. But at least we can talk about the remaining 7 other documents that you need to apply to this particular program, and these documents are related to other programs too as well. Okay, as I'm saying, this is the last part, CV, stating the main personal information, date of birth, and whatever. They need it in a certain format, that is Europass format. So I will do another video to cover this particular Europass format because it is like preparing a CV, so that you know how you can be able to convert your CV from the form it has right now to the Europass format. And with the list of this application document, I am going to give you examples to all of them with some document that I have. The document may not be perfect, but in my own view, I think those documents may be helpful for you to know exactly what you are supposed to get, the things you're supposed to do, and the things you are not supposed to do. So right now, how they are is not so much important than the information you are really going to get from this very video. So please, let's follow the list of application documents one by one, and I'm going to add examples as well. The first thing I would like us to check is the original degree certificate in the original language and an English, Finnish, or Swedish translation of the degree certificate. What this means is that if you have your degree certificate with you and it's not in the language of English, Finnish, or Swedish, you have to add the original language and also add a translation either in English, in Finnish, or in Swedish. So let's go and see how the certificate then works around. Now with the certificate, normally they require they require one, but we have something we call notarized certificate. A notarized certificate is basically something we are going to look at right now. In notarized certificate, we can see, okay, so this is an example of an original certificate. Okay, the reason why I want to show you examples is that without the examples you can just scan anything. You are scanning documents to apply for an admission. These documents should be neatly scanned and neatly prepared. You can't just scan anything halfway. You can't just scan and leave it black and white and those kind of things. Scan them in colored. It's very important that you scan such documents in colored. and also you crop it neatly to fit into the A4 sheet so that they wouldn't get spare spaces and other stuff around. So this is an example of an original certificate that is neatly scanned. You can see that it is just covering the whole page, and it's rightly positioned in the center of the document. So you don't put anything there and then you have this going here. Take your time and scan your document. Scan them in a colored form. Sometimes they will ask you to send the copies of your certificate. When they tell you to send copy of a certificate, they don't really want you to send the original, but they want you to send notarized copies. These notarized copies are copies of the original certificate, just that they are in black and white. And you and I can bear witness that normally these certificates are printed once. If you need any copies, they should be in black and white. But black and white certificates can also be like modified and like I mean can be fake sometimes. So they want you to have an institutional stamp on it. So this is an example. This is one of them. So it's the same certificate, but just that this time around, I have the certificate, a photocopy of the certificate in black and white, and then it is stamped with the university's official stamp, making it authentic to be used in certain situations, because it's not advisable for you to send your original certificate to them. So this is what they mean by a notarized copy. So if they want you to send copies of your certificate, please don't send the original copy to them. Make a photocopy of it and then let the university stamp for you. Or you can, I'm sure even by during admission time, you would have copies of these things available that you can be able to use them. Yeah, good. So let's check. This is the only thing about certificate, nothing more, nothing less. Just scan it well and make sure they are in the right order. The next thing we are going to look at right now is what are you supposed to look at? The next thing we are looking at for that is number 3 is the original transcript of records. The original transcript of records. So we have the original transcript of records in the original language and an English or Finnish translation. Okay, the same thing. So this is similar to all other programs. If the original version of your certificate is not in English, Finnish, or Swedish, you need to translate them to either in English, not in English, Finnish, and or Swedish, by any of these languages. The one that will be much easier for you to actually use. So let's see how this transcript is about. Okay, so with this transcript thing, okay, I have to be switching my distance so we can see how this transcript thing works. Okay, so you have a transcript. Now, transcript, the only thing that they are looking for transcript is the authenticity of the transcript, how authentic the transcript is. So most of the times, some universities don't have your pictures on the transcript, and then some universities tend to print their transcript in black and white. Sometimes, okay, this particular university, they says black and white copy is not official. Sorry, I've covered it with something, but you should at least have your picture on the transcript. The transcript should be printed in colored. That makes it more authentic, and then it should have the university letterhead. I'm sure transcript is basically common. It should talk about any other thing that it's supposed to talk about, and then describe your grades that you've attained, and more. Okay, I'll get back to that. Okay, then when everything is done, make sure the transcript is signed and stamped by the university in the university stamp and whatever registrar or academic registrar that is in charge with this transcripting. And also make sure you scan it very well. You scan and you crop so that it becomes very neat like this. It's nice to look at such a transcript than scanning the transcript in black and white. Some of you scan the transcript this way, and you can scan. I should have added example of those kind of you know what I'm talking about. Don't scan your transcript diagonally or horizontally, like just don't rotate it. Make sure it's vertically positioned, and scan it very neat and crop. Make sure that the only thing that is in the PDF is the transcript, and don't scan this document in picture format. They look horrible. Don't scan them in picture format. They really look horrible. One more thing I have to talk about with this transcript is that make sure that the transcript has the grading scheme. The grading scheme is very important because every school has its own grading scheme. So don't scan the transcript, just the top part of the transcript, and then the down part. If your my in the situation is 2, if yours is 3, fine. But don't scan the transcript and leave this out. Leave this grading scheme out. It's very, very important to the admission process because they don't know which grades give which result. So they are going to use this thing to check your performance. And please don't forget to add this page to the transcript. Okay? They need to interpret the transcript, and sending them this information, this two information, page 1 and page 2, without page 3 makes them do a lot of work. So make sure you add this grading scheme to the transcript. So let's check the next list of requirements. A copy of identification page of your passport. Okay, so most of the universities want you to attach your passport to the required document even during the application time. So let's check the passport out and see. Now with this passport, to try as much as possible to scan this passport very well. Scan it very neat in colored form and crop it and make sure that it is the only thing in the PDF. It helps. You know, some of you, when you are doing the scanning, you just put the passport, because the passport is much smaller than the A4 sheet. You just put the passport at one side of the A4, the whole A4 sheet, and then you scan it, and you don't crop it, and you just leave it like that. You can see that the passport will be just be at one corner somewhere here, like so small, will be at one place like this. If this is the A4 sheet size, the passport will just be somewhere here, and they have to zoom and zoom and zoom. Take your time, scan it in colored, and then scan it very well. And it's the front page. Don't scan even this one alone. Just add the whole front page. That is this and this, so that at least it looks quite big enough for them to actually see. The next document we would talk about here is that is item 4. Okay, that is item 4 is what we just talked about right now. We are talking about item 5. That is certificate of proof of English language skills. Okay, this place I have to take my time and explain this place. Take my time to explain this particular site. When we talk of proof of language skills, now you know some of the institutions in the world. Okay, we don't have one language, and then in Ghana, for instance, the official language is English, but in other places the official language is French. And then sometimes they believe that even if your official language is English, your English might not be up to standard, and you can't really blame them because they are not with you in your country and they don't know the kind of language you speak. And most of these applications too, they don't also have interview options that they will get to interview the applicants to know whether you are fluent in English or not. If your English is horrible as mine, then you need to prove yourself how you can be able to study in English. Good. So in this studying of English, some schools or some programs are much flexible, like they are very flexible in terms of this English language skill requirement, in the sense that sometimes they can just tell you that you don't need to submit any standard test skills such as TOEFL and the rest, IE something 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 and the rest. Okay, sometimes they can tell you that all that you need to is to go to your university and tell them that hey, I'm applying to school outside and I need a certificate that shows that my studies was done in English. But sometimes I don't know why they ask, because the transcript itself is in English, everything about you is in English, but the certificate is in English, but yet they want you to send that certificate. Well, they said you should send it, so why not? So this, for instance, one way to do that is just to go to university and tell them that you need such a transcript, and they would give it to you. So I'm going to show you how this kind of transcript looks like, and then where exactly you can get this English language transcript. Okay, so this is an example of English language proficiency certificate. So this, I got this from my university. That is from department, or is it academic? Okay, office of the registrar. So that is where I got this English language certificate. So sometimes some of the programs don't require you to write TOEFL or IELTS or something like that. All that they need you to do is to go to university and tell them that I need language certificate, a proof, something. And then this proof of language certificate can't just be anything. It should be in the university letterhead. At least that makes it authentic, because they don't know you. All that they want to know is to evaluate your application document. So you don't have to give them any bit of false information. You don't have to give them the reason to believe that whatever information you are any of the information you are sending to them is not authentic. Everything should be authentic. If they find out that one of your documents is not authentic, they're just going to put your application somewhere else. You are trying to fraud them. You're already not in the university and you are trying to fraud them. So this is an example, a typical example of English language proficiency that can be taken from your university. This is from University of Education, Miniba. So they write on top to whom it may concern, because maybe you would want to use it multiple times. But if they can address it to the university, fine. If you don't want it and you also want it to, but I think you have to pay for this. I paid like 17 cedis for this, so you are supposed to pay for this. But this may depend on the kind of institution you are in and um, where you are coming from. So it's not always the case. So this is the zoomed version. So they just write something. English is the medium of instruction from all levels, and therefore something, and then the registrar signs, and then you have your language certificate. It's done. Also, make sure that when you have it, because they will give it to you in a hard copy. After they have signed it, you scan it and you crop it very well and very neat. So this document, you can see all of them are well scanned and they are all very neat, colored. So when they take your application document, they will not be like, what is this? They cannot strain their eye trying to look at your application information. So let's check the next item on the list and see what we have. Okay, the next thing is a personal motivation statement. Okay, written in English, describing the reasons for application to a master's degree program in photonics and any relevant experience and future career or educational plans. Future career or educational plans. Good. If you remember from my last video, if you have not watched that video, kindly use the link up there to watch this particular kind of video. If you remember from my last video, I told you that letter of motivation is one of the main things people use to get or secure admission. Yeah, because the only thing that really tends to separate people in terms of this application process, if you guys are from the same university, is a letter of motivation, and you guys should take it very, very seriously. I have a sample that I wrote when I was trying to write mine. Not perfect, but at least it will give you a guideline as to how you can write a good motivation. And sometimes too, when you want to write a motivational letter, we tend to go to Google and be searching for information that are not so much relevant in this situation. Okay, sometimes the application has some questions. The program has some questions. You need to answer those questions in your motivation. And then when you look at your motivation and they don't see what you are looking for, what they are looking for, you are likely to get zero. Especially this one, for instance, when you look at this, for instance, it says that the personal motivation should be written in English. One, it should describe the reasons for application to a master's degree program. Two, and then third, any relevant previous experiences, and then future or educational plans. So you can see that it has 4 parts. Okay, the first one is just maybe instructions. 1 is done. Describing the reasons for your master's degree program. 2, relevant previous experience. 3, and future career goals and educational plans. 4. So you write the motivation letter addressing these points. I'm not sure whether it's even necessary for you to go in order, but at least if it's okay for you to go in order, as in why you are applying for this program, the kind of experiences you have, the future career or educational plans that you have. So I have a sample here, not the best, but I think it was the one that I was trying to write back then. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, so this is a letter of motivation. I have re-edited this, but anyway, it doesn't seem normal because I just don't want you to well, if you can find something, yeah, fine. At the end of the day, it's not really that so important. Okay, so before I go to this particular letter of motivation, there is something I want us to do first. Let's check on the university page and let's see if we can get relevant information. Yeah, most of the times the relevant informations are always on the program description. So you are applying for a program, you sign the program is nice. In the motivation, every program tells you their core main objectives and what they tend to achieve. So in here, you can find those objectives around the study objectives. So in here, they will tell you something brief about the program, what the program is, what they seek to achieve. You understand? And your basic background knowledge and everything. So this information here should give you a clue. Okay? So the program says that this is what we do. This master's degree program in photonics offers outstanding skills needed in international careers in optics, photonics, and related fields. So one of their main reasons why this program exists is that is blah 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 blah. That is what I've just read to you right now. Can't read everything. Okay, so that is what I've read right now. Now, when you have this information, this can help you to write a very good motivation. You align your objectives to, or you make sure that your reasons for applying to this program aligns to the study objectives of the program. The program cannot tell you that okay, it offers outstanding skills to needed international careers in optics and photonics, and you can't just come and tell them that okay, I'm applying this program to go and do a civil engineer in the I'm applying to this program because I want to know how to be a civil engineer in the next 2 years. Man, in the next 2 years, you are still in the program. So you want to tell them that you are using the photonics to learn how to become a civil engineer. Your objective doesn't go in line with the study objective. So you are likely to get 0 points. So let's check an example of this. Let's start with this topic and then check an example of this. Then good. So this is an example of the letter of motivation. So this is something that you can just use to just win their attention. So this one is the joy of making something work. I think this one was taken from somewhere. Yeah, I just compiled this so that I can. So I just add some Google information here for you to know. So I try to compile something for you for this particular video. So if you find anything here that is somewhere else, don't worry, nobody invented any English language. And when you quote something, you are, whether you can say whoever quoted it, man, this is only just to tell you what, or give you a guidelines as to what you can do. So you just state, give them some introduction, why, okay, so I realized that, okay, after my undergraduate studies, I realized that there is more I can achieve in research if I pursue further studies, and hence the reason I am applying to your master's degree program in photonics. Also, this field being a rapidly evolving field with an immense potential for the future, I consider this program to be just what I need for my current and future goals, future career needs. Okay, so you're already telling them that you've known the program and you like it, blah, blah, blah. And then the next line can be whatever you think really inspired you to start the program. The next line can be your previous experiences, like, okay, so here, why you want the point, what you want to study in the program. This can be your previous experiences, like things that you've done so far that you think when you have them, they can be beneficial to the studying of the program, and what you have done, the internships you have done, and your qualities that makes you suitable candidate for this very program, because it's scholarship and it's competitive. Whatever you know that you can also add. And finally, how do you intend to achieve after studying this program. And then the last part may be like trying to praise them a little about what they are doing. You've read the articles, or like you've read a lot about the university. You can see that the university is doing well in terms of the field you are doing, and blah 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 blah. And try to be a little convincing. You can't just be so raw like that. When you are so raw like that, there are certain things you may not really know. I mean, excuse me to say this, but sometimes the program will tell you that, hey, you need to know how to do this. Example, hey, you should be an exceptionally good in like MATLAB or like programming. Well, programming, you know a little bit of programming, but one thing is that you are learning the programming. Your course starts in September. Okay, you are writing an admission letter or this motivation letter in December, and your course will start the next year, September. That is a year. You can learn enough programming you want. So at least you can chip in that information that at least you have some basic knowledge in programming. Even if you didn't know by then, you can learn it. Nobody stops you to learn that. So you can learn it, you can chip in your motivation letter and make sure you prepare for that. But if you chip it in your motivation letter and you don't know that, then that becomes problem because they are picking you based on your achievement. But if you want to lie, then that is your own problem. For me, I don't think I can help you with that. So if you want to lie, that is your own problem. Okay. So this is a simple example. If you want help with any motivation letter, you can just send me an email. I'll add my email or anything like that, and I can help you with this motivation letter thing, so that we can write a nice one for a nice scholarship. Okay. The next thing that we would have to check up right now is application process is the two recommendation letters from academic and or professional referees with their contact information. Letter of recommendation, they just need two of them. But some schools or some programs in Finland here would require you to just take the email of the professor and then send it to them. And then they will send a link to the professor in the university and tell the professor that a student of yours is applying to a program in our department, and then we want you to tell us something about your student. It's easy. That one you don't have any work. All the work is on the professor. All that you need to do is to make sure that the professor replies them in time. That is your work. If he writes something bad about you, then you are dead. Okay. Well, it has both advantage and disadvantage. As I'm saying, though you are not going to do the work, he is going to do everything on your behalf, but you have to make sure that he sends it in time. Good. Now, the second part of it, or second part of recommendation letters, is when you are being asked to submit the copies of the recommendation letters. And there are so many things surrounding these copies of recommendation letters. So I'm going to take my time and explain them to you one by one with examples, what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do. The reason why there are so many things surrounding this motivational letter thing, this recommendation letter thing, is that a lot of people have tried to like duplicate other people's recommendation letters and make them their own and a lot of stuff. So if you want your recommendation letters to be authentic, please follow these guidelines. And these same recommendation letters, they said academic letters from academic or professional referees. I'm sure every university has professors, has doctors and masters, like those young lecturers who are just in, junior lecturers who are just in masters. Please, if you have a professor in your department, go for a professor. Even if you are not in good terms with the professor, please beg him or her and go for the professor. Let the professor write the letter of recommendation for you. If you don't have a professor in your department, go for a doctor, somebody who has a PhD, and a doctor or perhaps a senior lecturer. It's good. A doctor, a head of department. If he's a doctor and is a head of department, it's okay. Or a doctor or something like that. Then if there is no doctor, for which I think it's not possible, because at least every standard university would have a doctor. I don't know. By the time of this, I don't know what may change in the near future. If there's no doctor, then you can go for somebody who has a master's degree to give you the recommendation letter. Please, if there's a professor, make sure you take it from a professor, because in some programs, your letter of recommendation is weighed. The recommendation, because country like Finland take recommendation very seriously. Like if you are recommending somebody to somebody, then you know that the person can really do whatever you are recommending. They are very honest people and they don't want to do anything that will put them in trouble. So letter of recommendation is very important. Now, how do you get a very nice letter of recommendation? I have samples. I have like 4 of them here. I'm going to compare all these letters of recommendation so that you can know what a good letter of recommendation means. Okay, good. So let me switch back to this thing, and let's see how or what it means to have a good letter of recommendation. So letter of recommendation. So good. Okay. Now I presented a lot of recommendations here because I want to show you what exactly you're not supposed to do. If you want a scholarship and the scholarship is very competitive, and you think you need to prove them beyond all doubt that all your documents are authentic, these things are normally not good to whom it may concern. You may disagree, fine, it's okay, but you can't have a letter of recommendation and you can have something like to whom it may concern. Well, I would say that under normal circumstance, it's cool. But if you want to really tell them that you really mean business and then this letter is directly specific, like it's really directed to them, then it's good you try something like this. Whoa, good. Okay, so the first thing is we are not supposed to be doing this. It is not good. You can use this thing for general purposes, but it's really not cool. The second thing is that make sure your letter of recommendation comes in the university letterhead. Don't write a letter of recommendation with anything. So this, for instance, this letter of recommendation was written with the university letterhead. Do you agree to this? With the date that the letter was written, and dear sir or madam. And then let's check this one out. This one was written in the university by a professor in the university. He typed University of Education, Winneba, Department of Education. It's okay. But this and this, if you have two students applying for the same application, and then letter of recommendation for one professor looks like this, with this letterhead, this university letterhead, with the official logo of the university, and then you have two that looks like this, claiming it is the official letterhead of the university. Obviously, you are going to doubt that this is really a good letter of recommendation, especially when they come from the same university. It's likely for you to doubt. So make sure that your letter has the correct university head, and then it has the university logo, and it really depicts the standard way you are doing things in your university. If the professor gives you something like this, kindly talk to the professor that this thing is not really allowed. Or if it's allowed, but it doesn't show that thing is authentic, because anybody can type something like this. Do you really agree with what I'm saying? Good. So now that we know that our letter of recommendation should come with the university letterhead, which makes it more authentic, and then we know that we are not supposed to be doing to whom it may concern, then how do we address this side? How do we address the people we want to send the letter to? We just do that just like the normal motivation letter or something like that. So you address the university. So instead of writing to whom it may concern, let the alleged supervisor address the university. And this information here can be found on each program page. You have this information there. So let's check this out and see from here. So from here, from Chrome, we can see admission service. And then this is the admission box, or the admission information about the university. So instead of just writing to whom it may concern, we try as much as possible to direct the letter of recommendation to the university. So now we know that our letter of recommendation shouldn't be raw. We shouldn't add to whom it may concern. We should write it in the university format, like as in it should come with the university letterhead, with the official thing. It should also come with the date and note to whom it may concern. Okay, and then the letterhead should be proper. It shouldn't be something like this. Good. What then can we also talk about the letter of recommendation? The amount of information to be in the letter of recommendation, unless otherwise stated by the institution that, okay, write 1 page, write 2 page, write 3 page. write 2 pages, 3 pages, or whatever. But if it's not stated, sometimes a page full, it's okay. Because sometimes they just want to see something brief. Okay. This is also another letter of recommendation. It has a university letterhead, all right. It is addressed to the university. The DSL or madam is there, and this is the reference letter. If you need samples of this, I can give it to you so that you can give it your whoever is writing you the letter of recommendation. You have your reference letter with the student name, the reference letter with the student name. So in here, this is my name. Okay, so this is my name. Okay, but the thing is that what you are not supposed to. Okay, this one, for instance, has 3. That is 2 pages. I think 2 pages is too much for them to be reading, and sometimes they are in a hurry. They have to go to the next one. So letting them read 2 pages of information is just too much. I think it's just too much. Okay, so I think 1 page should be okay. 1 page should be okay, and then the person should finally end with his signature. Now, when the letter of recommendation is written, it should be printed out. It should be signed and stamped with the official or appropriate departmental or personal stamp, but it should always depict the university, something like that. So in here, the letter of recommendation is written. So this is a very perfect letter of recommendation. It has the university letterhead, the date, it's addressed to a particular university, that is this university, and the reference letter is there with the applicant's name. Everything is in order, and it's there. Whatever he's going to write is there. Thank you, Yours Cecily. So the only thing I think is off with this is that it's 2 pages, but it doesn't matter if the person can write 2 pages. Let him write. At least he's only talking up. If you have a lot of stuff or a lot of achievement and your lecturer can write about you, I think it's a good news. I think, in my knowledge or in my opinion, I think it should be 1 page, and then when it's done, it should be signed and stamped. So when it's signed and stamped, then you scan. And yet again, when scanning, please make sure you scan it very well. You scan it well in order. It should be the only document. Don't scan it diagonally. It makes it difficult and makes the whole thing looks like something. Okay, so you can just scan it vertically and we are done. So saying this, let's go to a final letter of recommendation that looks okay and looks standard. So let's see this letter of recommendation. Basically, there are certain things maybe I may not have talked to you about, or I haven't talked about yet, but I'm sure it's still supposed to be here that we can find out. Okay, so this is an example of a very peaceful letter of recommendation, and it's just 1 page. It has the university letterhead. It has the date, the appropriate date. It is addressed to a certain university. And then we have your salutation here. And then the subject is there, letter of reference with the applicant's name. And then whatever he or she wants to write about you. And then when you are done, he will write his yours faithfully, and then sign, and then stamp. So this is, and you see, this is so nice to the point that when you look down here, it goes with everything about this thing. If I'm to show you the original copy of this, you would love it. Okay, it's very nice. If you want to scan it colored, why not scan it colored? But make sure that this the stamp and then the signature are in pen. It helps. Okay, it helps. So this is a very good standard letter of recommendation. So when they take such a letter of recommendation, first of all, they know that this letter of recommendation was personally addressed to them, not like to whom it may concern. That one is just working somewhere and you picked it. Okay, and also they know that it's signed and stamped, so they know it's authentic. With the date, it's here. And talking about the date, some of the universities want your letter of recommendation should be at least not more than 3 months old or 6 months old. So make sure if your application period is within December, then by October you will be on your supervisor or your lecturer, whatever, trying to take the letter of recommendation till you get to December. Don't take the letter of recommendation a year and then use it to apply in the next year. No, it doesn't work like that. Just send it back to them. If they don't want to, at least just them agree that the date is old. If you want to change the date, change it. But don't use a 2 years letter of recommendation that was written to you in the year 2017 and use it to apply for application program this very year. It's too old. Okay, good. So this is an example of the letter of recommendation. And the last one that we have to check out right now is the curriculum vitae or vitae. It's in CV. They said they want you to have this in an Europass format. The Europass format is an Europass format, CV format is an online template. And when I add it to this video, it will be too long. So I would create another video to teach you how to create the Europass format, the CV in the Europass format. If you already have a CV, it's very simple. All that you need to do is just to copy the information into the Europass format. So this is how the page looks like. So in my next video, I'm going to cover how you can really get your CV in the Europass format. Okay, and this is an example of a CV that is covered in an Europass format. So this is an example of a CV that is covered in a Europass format. So let's check it out and see. So when you click on this link, this is the Europass page. It's an online template, as I've already said. So let me show you an example of CV that is already in an Europass format. I also have tried to do a sample here and highlight the main things that we are looking at. A typical CV should have something like this. Okay, your picture, yeah, you should have at least your picture in there. It looks nice. At least for once in your lifetime, take your time and take a very nice passport picture or something like that and keep it in the CV. Please don't use any selfie photo that you are in your kitchen or you are in your bedroom and put it here. You can do that. I mean, that is your own thing, your own style. But at least this is an official document and it's supposed to be styled. At least a nice passport photo. Like try to look handsome like the way I'm looking in this CV, and maybe it will enhance your application procedure so that you can be able to secure the scholarship thing. Don't put any selfie or something like that here. So it has the personal information with your name, your place of birth, date of birth, job applied for, studies applied for, which we can check it in the next video, and then a lot of stuff, educational background and whatever. This is an old one. It's just a sample to show you how the Europass CV looks like, and I'll cover this in another video. Okay, guys. So this is basically the list of required documents that you would probably need to apply to basically any institution or any school in Finland here. You can really do that, and it's very easy, as I have already told you that it's very easy for you to do something like that. So just take your time and follow this video. If you don't really understand anything, you can go back to this video again and take your time to watch it and know how you can get this document. The one important thing I didn't tell you about is that now, if you want to go to school next year, because this year I don't think it's possible right now, but if you want to go to school next year, admission opens somewhere from October, November, December. That is when most of the international application scholarships open, those period. So by this period, you should be able to have every basic document that you need. You should be able to have every basic document that you need through such period. Okay? Because when you wait, you wouldn't get them. You have to get all these things ahead in time. That's the reason why I am doing these videos now, so that when you watch them, you can know how to secure this information. If you don't understand anything, kindly send me an email or comment under this video, and I'll take my time to explain everything. If you need help with anything too, I can't promise, but at least I can help you. I can show you a guideline as to what you can do. So you need this document earlier before the application date. Kindly take note. Yeah. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about how to turn your CV into Europass format. And then when we are done, we go to the next country, that is Germany. And then from there, you go to Norway. And if I have more subscribers, then they will decide which country we are supposed to go next. So guys, this is the video. If there is something that I am supposed to add that I didn't add, kindly comment it down on the just write it on the comment section. And you can also feel free to share your ideas to this it or accept it. Okay, so see you, and don't forget to watch my previous videos, and see you in my next video. Bye.